Crosstalk, the unintentional transfer of signals between communication channels, a casual conversation.
Crosstalk, episode 023, the monthly podcast of gamers talking tech, science, and whatever else comes to mind. I am your host, Anthony Rossi, and with me this episode is Aaron Sturdivant, Sir Sturdy himself, from the Horror with Sir Sturdy podcast. Aaron, what's going on, man?
How's it going, man? Thank you for getting me on here. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm excited for what's coming up, what we're going to be discussing.
Yeah, there's all sorts of good stuff, and this episode is a long time coming.
Yeah, it definitely is. And it's
really quick, I've had to take quite the time off. I did one little one little blog post about this, and right now I'm just going to say it right now. If my voice sounds garbled, we are going through some weird technical issues right now, and I don't know what the deal is, but hopefully we're not getting any garble in the final edits. But anyway, I've had to take like 2 months off or something crazy like that because my son Jacob, he started walking recently and he is fully mobile.
Congratulations. So, by the way, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, he's still as adorable as all whatever, but I never realized how much energy and time it takes to just follow a little toddler around your house, making sure he doesn't kill himself on outlets or corners of tables, or picking up the kitchen knife that just so happens to be just within his reach, or keeping him away from the dogs when they get grumbly with him. Oh, good Lord. But
I did see that video you posted of him closing the door and crying. It was cute and funny at the same time.
Oh my goodness. All right. So I posted it both on my Facebook and on my personal Twitter at Hypersyntax. And it's just a quick little video. He just loves closing doors, opening and closing doors. That's like his jam right now. And he closes the door to his bedroom, to the nursery, and he just starts crying because the door's closed and he can't see us anymore. But, he closed the door, starts crying. I open the door, say hi to him. He closes the door again, starts crying. I open the door. He closes the door, starts crying. And we just do that a few times. And I'm just like, I don't know. This is parenting, apparently. A little stinker. So, as I mentioned in the intro, you've got your own little podcast going, right?
Yeah, and actually it's going pretty good, man. Like, I'm really enjoying it. I see why people do these podcasts now. It's so fun. Mine is a horror podcast, as you know, but the fans don't.
Right. So we're going to introduce that one more time. It is just give us the name of the podcast and what you do on it.
The podcast name is Horror with Sir Sturdy, and what I do is I have random guests. It can be anybody. Come on there. We discuss either a random horror chat or just discuss a movie, rate a movie. And when I do a movie, I'm going to let you guys know it's always going to be spoilers. Sorry.
Hey, if it's a spoiler cast, it's a spoiler cast. That's the way some people do it. I had Judge Greg on from the Real Hero Talk with Judge Greg, and he lets people know right in the beginning, this is a spoiler cast. Like, there will be spoilers. If you do not want to know what happens in the movie, turn it off now. But usually he goes after some, I don't want to say older movies, but it's not the stuff that just recently came out typically.
Yeah, so far with mine, for most of my episodes, most of the movies I've done were older, but the way I do it is I let my guests choose what movie they just send me an email, tell me the movie, and we watch it, get together, and we do a little recording on it.
So how many episodes are you in so far?
As far as episodes I have out, 9. As far as recorded, maybe 14-ish.
Oh, wow. Good on you, man.
I'm doing the bi-weekly thing, so I like to record as much as I can because you never know when there's going to be a weekend. As you know, when you're
Oh, yeah.
So I like to
Oh, man.
build up.
Yeah, I tried doing the bi-weekly thing in the very beginning, but then Jacob was born, and I thought, well, I'll just do it monthly and see how that plays out. And now, I mean, obviously, I went a few months without releasing a single episode just because life gets in the way. And as I've said many a times on this show, I have to take care of family first. Got to take care of personal life first. Because if, I mean, that would be something if we, got some major family stress going on. I'm like, all right, I'll get to that in just a second, honey. I need to go record my podcast, and then I'll be right back to you.
I'll be getting a phone call like, Aaron, I'm going to need a place to stay for a little while because I messed up.
Yeah, exactly. So, hey, you got to take a break every once in a while. However, I was able to push out actually a full-length episode 22, and we were live at the Empire State Comic-Con, and you were hanging out with me the entire time.
That was so fun. Oh my goodness, that weekend, it seemed like a long weekend, but at the same time, like once it was over, it seemed like it flew by. And I want to thank you again for letting me come with everything and help you out, because I learned so much being on the other side of the table, just with the talking and then just talking to people that are coming up to the table. Just, I learned a lot, because usually, as you know, I go to these horror cons or comic cons, and I'm the one who's like kind of going around buying things or just talking to the people that are there. So it was cool to be a vendor with you.
Well, so this actually turns into a great story. I actually misread the times of the con initially when I signed up, and this con happened to be 3 days. So it was a Friday night and then a Saturday and a Sunday. And for whatever reason, I thought I had read that the Friday portion was going to start at like 5 or 6. And I'm like, all right, I can get out of work. As long as I got my stuff with me, I can just sprint to the convention center and I can get everything set up, and I can like make it just in time, kind of like, Matrix back bend slide my way into the con. But as it turned out, no, it did not start at 6. It actually started at 3. And I'm like, oh God, I'm in the middle of a bunch of projects. I can't leave early, especially tell my boss, hey, boss, I need to leave early to go work a table at a Comic-Con for my side project podcast. That's cool, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
So going through all that, you had already agreed to work the table with me for like the entire weekend. And I'm like, Aaron, emergency. I need some help. And you were able to hold down the table for me for the first, 2 hours? 3 hours?
2.5 hours. It did work out because I just happened to take that Friday off to be at the con for the whole weekend.
And that was amazing. Yeah. So as much as you appreciate being at the con with me, I appreciate you, good sir. And we were able to record quite a few, we did a few live sessions. So you do a lot of streaming on Facebook Live. And I was able to record all those sessions, but I was also able to record a few other recorded sessions that didn't make it into the live stream. So I was actually able to put together, I think that episode was just about a full hour.
Yeah, I listened to it. I actually listened to it, I think, the day after you put it out. And it was about an hour. It was entertaining. It was pretty good, too. It was entertaining. It was different than your normal ones, because you usually have one guest on. But this was, I liked.
Yeah,
no, I was going to say, I liked it. Like, it worked. And I feel if you do a con like that again, bringing a podcast, that's actually a great idea. And it worked for your networking, too.
Oh, absolutely. And that's the thing that you really got to work if you're a vendor or an artist, or if you're working the con itself, which, I mean, really should go without saying, right? If you're going to go at one of these conventions and be surrounded by like-minded people for an entire weekend, you may want to have a few business cards to hand out if you want to move forward in the scene or whatever. But yeah, man. So did you have any particular cosplays that you really enjoyed that stood out?
The Alien. That was hands.
Oh,
and this is no disrespect to any of the cosplayers there, but that was just hands down probably my favorite one of the whole weekend. It was just amazing. I was like, wow.
Yeah. So there was someone dressed up as the alien from, Alien movies. So like the full long tail, the long skull, like the whole nine. And it was like, I don't even know, like pretty much production quality.
Yeah.
for this. I don't know if it was cosplay or commissioned or what, but that thing was amazing. And I'm sad that I only took a still picture because the person wearing it definitely had the movements down tight and were just kind of like kind of sauntering in this real menacing way, walking around the convention floor.
I actually got a video of that. It's when me and when Chris was there at the table. You stepped off. I think you had something to eat or use the bathroom or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I actually, because he came around the first one time before, and I got a video of him walking next to the table that was by us, and they came up to our table, like looked up, and everything was awesome. I posted it there. I'll have to look for it and tag you in it again.
All right, yeah, that was awesome. So yeah, lots of amazing cosplays, and it's. I guess this just comes with the territory when you start going to these conventions and going, to these events where you see these amazing cosplays. I hate myself for turning into like somewhat of a critic of cosplays. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the same time, you can judge them because it's what you like to see. But I know I don't have the talent to make that, so I'm not necessarily saying that certain ones are bad. It's just you like certain ones better.
Right. And it's like I said, I hate myself for even like thinking that. And I find myself just kind of chuckling at the times like, that's what you call a cosplay. You should have seen oh, shut up, dude. Relax. Like everyone's here to have fun. Everyone's celebrating whatever fandom they happen to have. And it's usually just a great time for everyone.
Yeah, it definitely is. And the thing I like about it is it's like with these cons, it's a judgment-free zone. And you see from babies up on to people twice our age, and we're kind of that are dressed up at these cons enjoying it, and it's just I love it. It's everybody's so friendly there. Everybody, you want to get a picture, everybody takes the pictures, and it's an awesome atmosphere.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and by the way, if you ever go to a con or you're unfamiliar with cons but thinking of going, if you see someone dressed up in costume, always ask for permission to take their picture. First off, it's just basic respect for the most part. But second, and we got to see all sorts of these, you get these awesome character poses when you get their attention and ask
That's
first.
So true. Like everybody we asked, they did the character poses and all that. I mean, half of them, I'll admit, I didn't know what they were, but I was just like, it's so cool. And they're so happy to do it. They're like, sure.
Right.
They put their whatever, thank you for taking the picture and all. And it's another way of networking because a few even had some business cards that we got. Another awesome thing right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. When it's like, hey, can I take your picture? And they're like, all right, hold on a second. Then they had to like bust out the like secondary props and whatnot. And they get into the pose. You're like, awesome, you snap the picture real quick. And then they reach into the pocket and you start doing like a whole business card exchange. It's a pretty wild thing. So yeah, can't wait to start going to more cons to see if I can get my table a little bit more official.
It was
and
good
organized.
though. This one you had that little I can't even think what the heck it was called that people kept flipping.
Oh, the magnetic hourglass.
Yes, that was a hit at that table.
I actually recently bought another magnetism electricity, I guess, kit, I'll call it, at a baby consignment sale. So these consignment sales, which I can rail about the industry of baby clothing and baby accessories and toys and whatnot because they're just so absurdly expensive. So my wife and I will go to these consignment sales where it's basically a giant garage sale or rummage sale just for toddlers and babies and stuff. And I found these like games or like the science kit with magnetism, and I picked it up for like $5. So I'm gonna one of these days I'll have to take a look at it, see if it's something that I can actually set up for the table for more things. But this in particular it's just an hourglass with a magnet in the base, and the sand itself has like iron filings or metal filings within it. So when you flip the hourglass, the magnetism is active, so it falls in like this really weird spiky blob thing on the bottom. But yeah, it turned out to be quite the hit.
It really did. And seeing like I learned from this from your table and stuff too, and it's like for doing the podcasting, because obviously we had nothing to sell, having active
right
the table really does, like stuff that you don't care if people touch. that really
Mhm.
a lot.
All right, moving on to some tech and science news. So it's been like 2 or 3 months since I've actually had an episode, so there's all sorts of stuff that we can get into. But we're going to throw it back a little bit, back to when Facebook had their, hold on, was it Cambridge Analytica?
The likes.
So we're going to throw it back a little bit. Yeah, Cambridge had their little, yeah, Cambridge Analytica, there it is, had their little oopsie doodle, or Facebook had their little oopsie doodle with, you know, showing how much information they actually share with the public and advertisers and whatnot. So I've got this fairly lengthy article from the New York Times about it. And, you know, it's really what it should be, like, to me, is it's not so much that Facebook is selling your information and tracking every little thing that you do. That should be pretty much expected at this point. It just kind of shows how deep the analysis really goes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was kind of breezing through this, and I'm just
So what did you think
like,
of this
after
article?
I checked this out, I didn't really study it. But after I checked this out, so I'm just like, wow, like I really noticed that this stuff is going on my damn Facebook feed.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like everything that you do on Facebook is part of their platform. So of course they're going to be recording and analyzing people's activity on their platform. And the way that they make money, because you don't pay to use their service, right? You don't pay anything to create events. You don't pay anything to promote your podcast or Etsy store or blog or whatever. You can, you know, run a business straight off of your Facebook page and pay $0. So how does Facebook make its money? Well, it sells your information to advertisers. So I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I just absolutely had to bring this up because about halfway down, there's a heading that says what your Facebook quote likes say about your personality. And we're able to flip through this a little bit.
What did they say? This is like say about your personality.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I see it
halfway
right
down.
now.
Yeah. So, like, none of this should be a surprise to anyone. Like, if you look at how these things are grouped, you're like, yeah, that pretty much explains that type of person.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, extroverted. And this is where I'm going to get into a little bit more detail. So, as far as extroverted, or most extroverted, I should say, DJ Pauly D, Michael Kors, JWoww, Gucci Mane. Yeah, those are musicians and whatnot that, yeah, if you like those people, you're probably very extroverted. And where this gets funny for me is on the least extroverted column. And this article, like I said, I haven't published a podcast full episode in a while. So this came out on March 20th. So a little over a month ago. And this article was posted the day after I actually went to go see Nightwish, the band, in Albany. So you go over to least extroverted, and also at the same time, I was writing up a quick review for the website regarding the Full Metal Alchemist live action movie. So the first one on this list for least extroverted, anime. Next one on the list, Nightwish. Fourth one on the list, video games.
This is all the good stuff, though. Hey, I know a little Magna. You know, those books are awesome. Who doesn't love video games? And then as far as drawing goes, I love it. I just suck at it.
But yeah, it just, you know, it just says it's your least extrovert. And another thing I kind of want to bring up really quick, just momentarily, is that what we're seeing a lot in the social media space is pretty much what people have been doing for years upon generations, and that, you know, when you have a friend who says, hey, I'm looking for a new band, or looking for a new TV show, or I'm looking for a new something or other, well, first you ask them, well, what do you like to begin with? Right? And then, like, well, if you like this person or this, you know, musician, you should give this other musician
sense.
ago. So you start to make assumptions and whatnot based on, well, what's observable. So yeah, if if someone likes anime, Nightwish, and video games, chances are they're a bit on the introverted side.
I'll say it. I guess I'm on that side because I like all that stuff. The other side, I don't even care about.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, these are just generalizations, and especially when you get into the social sciences, nothing's absolute. Like, I'm not even gonna lie, I have no idea who Waka Flocka Flame is.
I'm gonna tell you, Anthony. Unfortunately, I know who he is, and
yeah, and being that you said unfortunately, I can hear the shame in your voice. So, if he's going to be, I'm assuming he is listed in the same list as Pauly D, JWoww, and Gucci Mane, I can safely assume I probably won't be a fan of that music.
You won't be because you like good music.
All right. So moving on. Apologies for moving on quicker than I normally do. I'm trying to get these podcast lengths back down to roughly an hour, as opposed to like the hour and a half, 2 hour, 2.5 hour episodes I've been having recently. But moving on. I sent you another article. We'll just touch on this real quick, just because this is awesome news. NASA has direction. This is an article actually from NASA's website, dated April 16th. NASA's exploration campaign, back to the moon and on to Mars. Now, there's a lot of technical information in this. This is basically a mission report. This is definitely not something that would be found in the New York Times or the Washington Post or any other like secondary news outlet. But what do you think about the U.S. heading back to the moon?
It's interesting, like space and all that. I was always interested. I used to want to go to space as a kid, but as I got older, I'm like, no, that's not a good idea.
Why? What took you away from it?
Not being able to come back, honestly.
Oh well, there's
a huge fear. Like if something happens up there, I'm like, oh man, damn.
Oh yeah, you're done. You're done if like something. I mean, of course, we have the hero stories of people being able to come back, but they're hero stories for a reason.
Yeah, I'm not one of those.
All right.
But I remember this was back a few years ago when I was going to college. We were actually discussing the whole Mars thing when it first kind of came up, and they were talking about sending people up there to live, which I thought was crazy but interesting.
Mm-hmm. And
I don't remember if I said it in class or not. I know I discussed it after class with other classmates and the teacher. I was like, it would be an interesting reality show if they can do it like that.
Oh yeah.
Like, we wouldn't watch.
Well, one of my previous episodes with Lee Mercado, we're talking about how we're actually able to get like virtual tours of the Martian surface right now with all the information that the rovers have been able to send back. And those things, that rover was supposed to last like, what, a year, 2 years maybe? It's been up there for like, I don't even know how long. I don't think it's quite hit 10 years yet, but it's been up there for quite a while.
I remember that episode. That was an interesting episode about that part. That was what made me think about that too. I'm like, yep, Mars. Let's go.
So I'm just gonna skim this real quick.
What are your thoughts on it, the space thing?
I've talked about this before because I'm a dork like that, and going back to the moon just seems kind of senseless to me because we've already analyzed its surface. We've already analyzed, its composition. We've analyzed its atmosphere. Oh, it doesn't have one. So there's really not much point in going to it. But if you flip through some of the objectives, there's like this one right here, support early science and technology initiative that includes lunar CubeSats and Virtual Lunar Institute and other activities. So basically it's like the beginning steps of moving farther out. So, and that I can actually get behind. Because if we were trying to just go straight to Mars and start colonizing, that's like a 2-year trip just to get to the planet itself. Maybe we should start with, the yard outside our front door, so to speak, rather than going all the way across town to see if we can make it.
That one.
Yeah, because as you go down, you see Mars and other deep space objectives, and that gets more into the larger scaled objectives and whatnot. So I'm kind of excited.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it's one of the best ideas, but I mean, it's
Well, I mean, there's been a lot of hype around just Mars in general and space exploration in general. So I think this is like it's coming, and we need to start planning for it. I think is what we're getting at. Like it's on the horizon. It's definitely going to be within our lifetime, and these are the first steps. Just like trying to plan stuff out and get ready for this because we will leave Earth at some point. Maybe not our generation, but within our lifetime, we're going to start with more, space exploration.
that I definitely believe in. I definitely do.
Right. So you got to crawl before you walk, and all the other colloquialisms and expressions and axioms and whatever other expressions you can come up with.
Yeah.
All right. So now we're going to move into a new segment. I'm going to see how this works for us. And I'm going to call it, for now, I'm going to call it the Duck Hunt for shooting down internet quackery. And this segment is going to be dedicated to just utter nonsense that we find on the internet.
Yeah.
And one that I saw posted on my Facebook, and it just made me rub my eyes because sometimes I'll see these things and they're joke articles or people are just kind of mocking them. But my friends on Facebook were actually serious about this, and sadly, it was one of my sisters. And I'm like, I don't know how to tell you that this is absolute nonsense. So I'm going to let you be happy for a little while and think that you found something. But, so here it is. And everyone, I mean, if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably a bit of a nerd to begin with. But here's what the image says. Food fact. Flip the bell peppers over to check their gender. The ones with 4 bumps are female, and those with 3 bumps are male. The female peppers are full of seeds, but sweeter and better for eating raw, and the males are better for cooking. I didn't know this. Yeah, you didn't know this because this is a true jackass. And the article that I'm going to post in the show notes is the Snopes page for this. And it's like, here we go again. Like, have you seen this image prior to me sending you the show notes?
No, I didn't. I was going through the notes over again today, and I seen this, and I'm reading it and skimming through it. And I'm like,
oh man, yeah, people.
This is one of those things where that saying, don't believe everything you see on the internet.
No, seriously though, just don't, because people, right? Back in middle school, 6th through 8th grade, possibly elementary school, when you learn that flowers have both a pistil and stamen. Plants have both genders present. So plants are essentially hermaphrodites. The idea that they might have a different gender, the only thing that I can think of as to why bell peppers, green bell peppers in particular, are damn near tasteless to begin with. No one eats green bell peppers because they taste good. You eat green bell peppers because you dipped them in some type of dressing or, something like that. The only reason why they would have different number of bumps on the bottom is how large they've grown. Have you seen anything else on the net or on Facebook or whatever that might rival something like this?
Not that I can think of right now, but I've definitely.
So just my friends.
No, nothing I can think off the top of my head, but I've definitely seen a lot of dumb things where people will share something and just, that's really, no, it's not real. Here's what people need to start doing. They need to maybe shut down the internet for a little bit, go to this place called the library, crack open, and just read and get information. The old school way, how we used to have to do it?
Right. Yeah, I'm going to need to talk to someone who's actually studied this or something, because there's just so much information out there, so much information that you don't even need to put forth any effort to access it, which is great and horrifying at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it really is. And it's just, I feel like the stuff that gets pushed the most, I don't want to get too off topic, but is negative or something that is not true at all. I'm like,
Oh,
come on.
absolutely. Either it's not true at all because they're going off of something where it's like doctors don't want you to know this. So if it's like you've got some hidden knowledge that you're not supposed to have, you can hold this over your doctor's head. And the other stress of quote big pharma or the whole system just wants to make money off you. So here's how you beat the system. And it's like people like, all right, so I'm not going to say that that stuff doesn't exist because obviously it does. That's part of capitalism. But how far down the rabbit hole do you need to go? Like, how far out there do you need to go until you get to the point where you think bell peppers have a gender to them?
Oh man, again, it's just people throwing stuff out there, and they're seeing how it'll stick. You know, throwing it up against how it'll stick. And
Yep. And this apparently got something. Oh, jeez. Fun stuff, right? Well, we'll see how this goes. I'm going to see if I can get this little segment going because I think it might be fun. See if we can just have some fun mocking people that post stupid stuff on the internet.
I do like this segment. If I can find anything random for you, I will find something.
Awesome. Send me your stupid science articles, people. Hashtag AskVGXT. And we'll see if we can have fun mocking stupid people together.
Sounds good.
All right. So, time for an Audible interlude. For you, the listeners of Video Game Crosstalk Podcast, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. All you have to do is go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod and sign up for your free trial and download one of over 180,000 titles, such as Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, Aaron, have you seen the Jurassic World movies?
Yes, I have. And I actually have a.
Well, I mean, there's only one Jurassic World movie right now, but did you see the trailer for the next one?
I did not see the trailer for the next one yet.
Oh, so good, so good, so good. So there's been a few of them out, and I think they released like the final trailer, and it's going to be a lot of explosions.
Love it. Dinosaurs.
Yeah,
Other than that.
yeah, it's going to be all sorts of fun stuff going on. And I guess like the island is like on a volcano, and the volcano's about to erupt. Anyway, but that's Jurassic World, and if you want to get caught up with all the fun stuff that started this off way back when, Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton is available on Audible. So that's one more time, go to audibletrial.com/VGXTpod. Start it up.
Good, man.
All right, moving on into some gaming and geekery. All right, so we are recording this on April 29th. So this is Sunday. And a little movie came out officially on Friday. Have you heard anything about this movie?
Are you talking about the Infinity War movie that people are so excited about?
Just maybe. So Infinity War is here. The sad part is I haven't been able to see it yet.
Me either. And you know what?
But I'm working on
Okay,
it. But
well,
no, go
I
ahead.
got two things to share with this one.
Do it up.
So first of all, my wife is a nerd. She loves these Marvel movies. So
Fantastic.
I believe it was Thursday or Friday. Anyway, she was at work and she printed out in chronological order of how you're supposed to watch every single one of these movies.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
15 movies. She's gonna watch every single one of these movies before we go see Infinity War, and that's what she's been doing all weekend. God bless.
Excellent. Good on her. Good on her.
Yeah, I think she just finished Winter Soldier about an hour ago, half hour ago down there.
All right. You know, I never saw the first Captain America.
I see, like,
I watched like a little bit of it, but I just never got around to it.
I'm pretty much the same with that. I did see Black Panther yesterday, though. Finally.
Oh, I need to see that one too. I'm so behind. Darn kids ruining everything for me. But how was Black Panther? Was that as great as all of the hype makes it out to
To me
be?
personally, I honestly think it was, and this is actually going
Excellent.
back to a conversation that me and you had about the whole black nerd thing,
Hmm.
how it should be embraced more. Now with this movie, I'm not gonna. I don't want to give anything away, and I don't want to make it too sound too race based. But for me, it feels good to see a hero that looks like you, just like a hero that looks like you with all that stuff, and just like the whole community, the whole Wakanda community and all that. It was awesome to see that for once. Like I love
Yeah.
and Superman and all that, but at the same time, it's like, what about the guy that what about the hero that looks like me? And I finally got to see that in the movie. It was amazing.
And that kind of brings up a point for me where, all right, obviously I'm a suburban white male. I understand that. But, well, not recently, a few years back, getting onto the whole idea of a hero that looks like you. My brother and a friend of ours, we were all playing Borderlands the pre-sequel, and we were selecting our characters, and I was playing as Nisha, so the female, cowgirl with the twin six shooters, and my brother was playing as Athena, so the other female character with a sword and shield. And he made a comment like, dude, does it feel weird that all of us are playing as female characters? And I'm like, maybe, not really. But that was like the first time that it really came to me like, this is what people have been talking about when the heroes on screen don't look like them, and they're supposed to be identifying with a hero that is someone other than what they are. So it was one of those things where it's like, so this is what people have been complaining about the entire time. And this is my privilege that typically I'll go to a movie and the hero 9.5 times out of 10 is going to be a white male. So for Black Panther to come out, and it wasn't just a person of color that's the hero. It was a person of color that wasn't like your typical American thug.
Exactly.
Right?
Like complete opposite, which was awesome. Like I said, it was one of those things where you got to see black excellence in a movie, and it was more than just, it was multiple heroes in the movie. Like you've seen strong presence from black women, which you don't get to see a lot. And just, I love seeing a strong female presence, no matter what race it is, in a hero role, because they're usually, you see them playing the victim, the damsel in distress. And it was just, it was great for everyone.
And it's so tired, the female victim. Like I'm so glad we've passed out of that phase for the most part. I mean, it still happens every once in a while, but I mean, like early 90s, late 80s, it was always the girlfriend got kidnapped by the street gang, and, Van Damme had to go save her or something like that.
But it was, I do highly, highly recommend the movie. I would say it's the best movie I've ever seen. It was probably it's definitely one of my favorite, like, Marvel movies, I'll say that, but it probably wasn't the best movie I've ever seen, like people were saying. But I would say go see it when you can, or go buy the DVD. It's definitely worth the buy, if you ask me.
Okay, nice. Yeah, so I definitely need to see that. I haven't been to the movies in so long.
We went to go see it yesterday at my wife's playing at the Scotia Theater. It was $5 to go see it.
Nice. Yeah, so locally here, one of the local theaters, well, we got a few of them, but over on your side of town, it's the Scotia Theater, where they play the second run of the movies, I guess is fair to say, for like super cheap. So yeah, getting to see that for $5, that's good stuff right there. So yeah, I haven't seen anything. Well, I haven't seen Infinity War yet. I've heard both that it's absolutely amazing and what everyone wanted it to be. And of course, the reviews are coming out about how it's a disjointed mess, how there's no character development, how you don't know what's going on. And it's like, I hate those reviews so much, because like what your wife is doing right now, she's watching all the movies leading up to it. And this movie in particular is 10 years in the making.
There's 17 movies I think it's 17 leading up to this movie, so it's like, watch those, watch this, and you'll get
17. That's a lot of film. That's a lot of film.
It really is. But I mean, you have to think of the fan base for that. Those people who are big fans, they've watched these movies probably times over. And then they knew this movie was coming out 8 years ago, so they were starting. Sure, when a new movie was coming out, they probably started their cycle over just to, get that extra little information.
Oh yeah, and you see the websites, they're like doing their whole lead up to Infinity War, like going back and rewatching and talking about every movie leading up to this. But yeah, 10 years in the making. It all started with the first Iron Man, and then just expanding. And it's like by the time you get to any of the Avenger movies, like this is not the time for character development. All the character development's done in the solo films. So, and I think someone during the review for Age of Ultron, they actually kind of did the math where it's like, okay, we've got 14 main characters, and we have the new villain who we need to explain and develop. And we have all sorts of crazy fight scenes that we need to include. And we need to include some other tender moments and move the actual main plot along. Okay, block out time for the fight scenes, for the main plot, for explaining and introducing and developing the main villain. Okay, remaining time, divide that by 14. And that's how many minutes each character gets for development. And it came out to like 4 minutes a character or some ridiculousness like that.
Like you're saying, you got to watch the single movies if you want the origin stories of the certain characters. You can't expect that in a team up movie because
no, not even close.
The movie would be like 20 hours long.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's a team up movie. That's a great way of putting it. All the other individual developments are done on the solo films. This is to show how they progress as a team itself. So don't go into any Avengers movie expecting, to be introduced to each individual character and learn about their motivations. No, that was done in Thor 1, 2, and 3. That was done in Iron Man 1, 2, and 3. That was done in Captain America 1, 2, and 3.
And now Black Panther.
Now Black Panther, we have Ant-Man, we've got Doctor Strange now, which I think is going to be like the second arc that's going to follow after Infinity War, is what I read a while back. So, don't expect character development. Enjoy it for what it is, which is like the lead up and the climax of 10 years of solo films leading up to this point.
I do have one more thing to say about the Black Panther movie. I only had one. I don't want to say what the issue was. I don't want to give it a spoiler, but I did have one little issue with that movie.
Oh, what's up?
I would say, Anthony, after you watch the movie, I would discuss it with you, because if I tell you what my issue is with the movie, it'll kind of spoil it for you. I don't.
No spoilers.
And I don't.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, do you have one more issue with it? All right, we can talk about that later then, if need be.
One small issue with it.
Okay. All right. Moving on. So we're about to head into convention season, and we've already had a few awards given out this year. And most recently, we have the BAFTA Awards, which is the British Academy Game Award winners. Wow. It is. Let me get back. Wow. I'm going to need to redo that. The British Academy of Film and Television Arts. So it's like our other awards here in the States, but they make it classy and whatnot. So they have their awards, and they were announced earlier this month. And Aaron, what do you think of this list that they put together?
I'm looking at it right now, and it's actually pretty interesting. Look at right here. Game design, Super Mario Odyssey.
See, and right next to it is Game Innovation, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I don't know how Nintendo is able to stay so fresh all the time.
You know what it is with Nintendo is because at all the systems, Nintendo's like the simplest one. Females love it. It's kid friendly, and then all of them are expensive, but it's like the most affordable one, and it brings you back to your childhood. Like I still have Mario, Zelda, and all that, and we've all played that as kids, and it's just like more. It looks better than it did, obviously, but it's that fun system.
Oh yeah. Oh, Breath of the Wild is gorgeous. I mean, it's still a somewhat simple art design, but like the art style and the imagination that they use to put into their level design in both Legend of Zelda and Mario, it's just absolutely stunning. And they're able to like outdo themselves time and time again. So good on Nintendo for setting that up. And I've got to say, I've been looking at this game for a while. It's been on my backlog and to play list for a long time. Well, as long as the game came out a little while back. And I finally played like the first hour or so of Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice. Oh my God. This is not a game, it's an experience. And I can say that now firsthand. And if you play Hellblade, and I think it's actually going to be coming to the Xbox, I'll check in on that. If you play Hellblade, play with headphones on. Don't use your TV speakers, don't use your stereo speakers. Wear a headset, because the magic that they pull off with the audio, so worth it. I mean, so worth it to buy proper gaming headphones just for this game. Because here's what they do, and this would be great for your podcast if you do you have a PS4?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Get this. It's a digital download. I think it's $30 full price. They might have had sales every once in a while, but get this game. What they do is a lot of this game has to do with psychosis and mental instability and how Senua is dealing with these things. And to illustrate that and to demonstrate that, you hear whispers all the time. But they're not just whispers in your ear. They're coming from different directions. They're coming at different intensities. They're coming at you with like different inflections in their voice. And during some extended periods of dialogue, you hear the voices kind of fade left to right, as if there's a person whispering behind you and like walking around behind your back, just kind of whispering from one ear to the other type of thing.
That right there interests me with the whole whispering thing. I don't know if that's weird or not, but creepy.
Oh, it's incredibly weird. It's incredibly creepy, but it is very dark visually. The concept is very dark. Everything about it is, as far as metaphorically being dark, it's in there, and it takes place during like ancient Nordic times. So you got the darkness of the dark Vikings, not the I'm going to Valhalla in a handbasket or going to drink and fight and have at it. No, this is the dark Nordic lands style and visuals going on. So it's very emotional. There's even the first hour, I can easily see why they won 1, 2, 3, 4 awards, and the game is less than a year old.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to check this game out.
You're absolutely gonna. So yeah, you just play as Senua, and she's on a mission to save a loved one or bring a loved one back from the dead. At least that's what she's trying to do. Oh, and I don't know how many chances you get, but this is going back to Senua's original release, or Hellblade's original release. There's a permadeath in this. Are you familiar with permadeath, Aaron?
I am not.
Okay. That's why I brought it up, because the different levels of gamers listen to this podcast. So permadeath means you play the game, but when you die, that's it. Like the game ends, and the game deletes your save information.
That's wow.
Yeah. So some people call it hardcore mode. Diablo has it, and a few other games have it, where you get one life. And you can save the game to save your progress. But if you die in game, there is no checkpoint to go back to.
Wow.
Like, that's it. And with Senua, you can die a few times, but like this black rot will slowly take over your body. And if it gets too extreme, then the game deletes your save file.
I've never.
Yeah, they're not messing around. It's like, get good, scrub, or start over. But the game itself, I will also say, I think it's only supposed to be like 8 hours long total. So it's a shorter game. But it's only like, $30. The visuals are absolutely astounding. And it was made by, I think, Ninja Theory, a studio of like 20 or 30 people. So, it's not like a massive AAA title where they have hundreds upon possibly thousands of people working from different continents to get this thing completed. It's just, small studio that's working on the game.
Yeah, that game, I was just reading about it a little bit more. That game really sounds interesting to me, man.
It is, yeah. So it's been out for a little while. Like I said, this awards list came out a few weeks ago, and all sorts of hype has been surrounding this game. And for a little studio to put this out, it is absolutely amazing. Last little bit of gaming and geekery news, and E3 is just around the corner, and we're finally getting the first little glimpses of who's going to be where and what time as far as press conferences are concerned. So, oh man, so much stuff is coming out this year. Well, I would say so much stuff, but really, I'm kind of hoping that a lot of stuff comes out specifically from Microsoft, because they've been getting destroyed the past few years by Sony. Like, it started to get awkward, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Microsoft, I mean, I was always a Sony fan, but Microsoft a few years back was making a lot of good stuff, a lot of really good stuff, and now Sony's caught on finally.
Yes. I don't know what happened to Microsoft. Through the course of this podcast, it's kind of funny. You can hear me kind of slowly change my mind and kind of evolve into, I'm going to be a Sony PlayStation player. I kind of talk myself into it. If you go back through the episodes, you can kind of hear me talk myself into it and work it through in my head. But yeah, I've switched over. No shame, no regrets. I'm loving it over on the PlayStation side. Microsoft, you got to do something. They seem to be doing well with their, I think it's called the Game Pass, their streaming service for games, but got to bring something. So do you make it a point to watch the press conferences?
I haven't in a couple of years. I used to actually do it. My old job when I was a personal care aide, because the guy I was working with was a huge video game fan. Mm-hmm. He'd have it on. We'd be watching it and discussing it then. But other than that, not too much.
Oh, absolutely. Obviously, absolutely. EA, I'm not sure if I'm really going to be watching EA, because they do a lot of EA Sports, and I don't play sports games. And then they'll do like Battlefield. I'm like, eh. And because I don't do the PvP. And then they'll talk about, see here, EA are confirmed plans to show more on the next Battlefield. Don't care. Anthem, I'm interested to see what they do with that. And then EA Sports. So, like, half of the EA conference I just don't care about in the least. Possibly 3/4 of their conference I'm just not going to care about. So, I'll look up the highlights, and maybe that's about it. Bethesda always brings the ruckus. Oh my god. Bethesda always brings out something crazy. I remember a few years back when they announced the next Doom title. And it was just bloody and glorious.
Bloody and glorious. I love it.
Oh man. I haven't played it simply due to a lack of time available. But I remember when Doom came out, the latest Doom came out, I had some people asking on Twitter, like, hey, how come there's no like customization in this game? What's going on? And it's like, don't know how to tell you this, but no one plays Doom for this plot development.
You're right about that.
Yeah. Microsoft, Sony, Nintendo, I'm sure they'll be having something.
Oh, they always will. I see right here they're announcing Super Smash Brothers game, which is always a popular game. For the Switch, you know what game, if they haven't done it already? Well, no, one game. This right here will get me to buy the Nintendo Switch. So Nintendo, if you're listening, do this. Pokemon. The same way you do it for the Game Boy systems, if you do that for the Switch, I will get a Switch. That's my favorite Nintendo game,
Right.
and it's just
Yeah, Pokemon's been going on forever. All of Nintendo's mainstays have been going on forever. So the first Pokemon game came out in what, 98?
something like that.
Something, yeah, late 90s. The first Pokemon came out. You know, I got
The
the
red
power of
version, the
Google
red
in front of
version, the
me.
blue version, and well, I believe I had them.
Wow, February 27th, 1996.
Wow,
The first Pokemon games.
I'm old.
Yeah, that's 20 years.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right?
And that's one game that I will pick up. I have a 3DS right now. It actually looks like a Nintendo controller. And
Nice.
that game I'll pick up and play here and there, the Pokemon games, because I'm trying to get my wife into them so that we can battle each other. Still working on
Nice.
that. So yeah, Nintendo.
So Nintendo, they'll be bringing something. And Sony, geez, last E3, it was like Microsoft explained everything that they were going to do. Here's what we're working on. Here's some of the projects we're working on. Sony comes out. They had this weird drum intro thing. And they talked a little bit and said, okay, cool. So the rest of E3, it's all about the game. So here's a run of trailers completely uninterrupted. And it was just trailer after trailer after trailer after trailer. Damn, Sony. Not messing around.
That's a drop the mic thing on that right there.
Basically. So I don't know what they're going to show. There's still a few games that they announced, like I think it was Beyond Good and Evil. There's a few, like Vampire, I think, is another one. And still waiting to hear any news on Cyberpunk 2077, which, by the way, quick shout out to the Mad Queen show, cranking out the lore videos for Cyberpunk. She's really doing a great job over there. So if you want to know what that's all about, go look up the Mad Queen for the Mad Queen show, and all sorts of Cyberpunk lore videos going down for that. So
I'm not sure what any of that is, Anthony, but email that to me. I'll definitely check.
all right, we'll do.
Definitely. Yeah. When you get a chance.
Okay, moving on to the final section of this. This is the final 5 questions. I ask every guest 5 questions at the end of every episode. The first 2 are always the same. The last 3 have a theme. All right, Aaron, your turn to go against the 5 questions now.
Ready.
All right, so obviously the first question, well, you know the first 2 questions. The first one, coffee or tea?
Well, since grape Kool-Aid's not an option, I'm going to have to go with definitely tea, though. Morning, noon, night, whenever, hot, cold, I love it.
Really? What's your flavor of choice?
Honestly, apple, if it depends on, like, if I'm sick, apple cinnamon tea with honey in it works so good. If not, I like the fruity sweet flavors.
Oh, look at you all pinky out and whatnot.
I'm fancy.
All right, question 2. So we know you're a gamer. Do you play any tabletop games?
I mean, if you count Monopoly and all that, then yes. I used to play The Gathering. I used to go to Flight to Fantasy over here in Albany, New York. They play those Magic tournaments. Haven't won. Had a great time. I still have my cards, and I actually want to get back into that.
All right, we'll see what we can work. I still got some cards. I used to play. Used to do drafts with a few friends of mine. I haven't done it in a while because everyone, got busy, basically. And one friend who used to host, he works really, really weird schedules. But I'm gonna see if we can get something going again at some point. All right, final 3. Here we go. So, question number 3. What is your weapon of choice for the zombie apocalypse? Oh, and all these are going to be horror themed, by the way, for your podcast. Oh, God, I'm so out of practice. All right, weapon of choice in the zombie apocalypse.
A machete, and that's because my favorite slasher is Jason Voorhees, and that's his. It seems to work well for him, so I think it'll work well for me, too.
All right. Awesome. I remember when I finally got into Walking Dead, and my wife and I were just like binging it on Netflix, just getting all caught up. I remember I'm out in the backyard, cleaning up the dog poop as I typically do on the weekends. And I got this shovel in my hand, and I was thinking, this would be awesome if I could flatten out this shovel, put an edge around the rim, and then use it as like a glaive or spear or something like that in the zombie apocalypse.
I like your thinking right there.
It's heavy. I can swing it, and I've got some reach on it, so the walkers don't get close to me. I'm like, yeah, I might be thinking about this a little too much right now. I should get back to work.
That's a good thought when you're cleaning up some dog poop. I do it too.
Hey, what do you got? 2 of them. And both of our dogs are 55 pounds ish.
See, I got one. He's about 90 something pounds, maybe.
Oh dear God!
Yeah,
knocking you over.
No, he's actually pretty good with that. Like, I've trained him when he was a puppy not to bump into people and do all that stuff. So he's pretty good with that.
Okay, yeah, no chance with our dogs. Like, if you're to ever come over, like, we try to hold the dogs down, but they get so excited when people come to visit, both in alarm and got to sniff you and all that good stuff. We do what we can, but they were both rescues, so whatever habits they had to begin with, you can only do so much in training it out of them. All right, so 4th question. So I was going to ask you, how would you die in a horror film? But since your wife had so much fun with us over at the con and hanging out with us and playing along, tell me this. If you and your wife were in a horror film, how would she end up dying? Time to get Aaron in trouble.
Put me on the spot. Oh. How would she die? Well, she's a woman and she's Spanish, so...
So you're saying she would live?
She might. But then again, she could be stuck. Oh, man. You really put me on the spot with this one. How would she... Probably honestly, she'd probably die trying to get away, because she wouldn't be the one looking for the noises and all that. She'd just try to run and get away and just get caught somehow. Maybe try to save her damsel in distress, which would be me.
So she would die trying to save.
Yeah, because I'd probably be doing something stupid. No, I would be. Come on now.
All right. Final question. Now, if you were the villain of a horror flick, what would be your favorite one-liner after a kill?
After a kill?
Yeah.
Should have ran faster. I was gonna use that one line, that I used to end my podcasting with, "I'll see you in your nightmares," but if you're already dead,
yeah, right. Well, I guess you won't be seen.
Ran faster.
All right. That is all the time we have for this episode. Time for end of show plugs. You can follow me, Anthony Rossi, on Twitter, Instagram, PS4, Twitch at Hypersyntax, HYP3RSINT4X, or you can follow the podcast directly either on Twitter at VGXTPod, Facebook.com/VideoGameCrosstalk, or visit the full website for full show notes and other blog posts at VideoGameCrosstalk.com. As for my guest, Aaron, where can our beautiful listeners follow you around?
Okay, well, they can follow me. I have 2 Facebook pages right now. One's a fan page, and one's a group. Both Horror with Sir Sturdy. If you go in the search, you'll find that. You can also find me on YouTube with the same name, Horror with Sir Sturdy. And I'm finally on Instagram now. Horror _with_Sir_Sturdy. They made me do it like that.
Hey,
if you're a fan of horror and you'd like to be on my show, email me at horrorwithsir.sturdy@gmail.com. Hey, let me know what movie you'd want to do or a random horror chat. You can get something worked out.
Cool. All right, and finally, if you are a gamer or know a gamer that wants to talk some tech and science news, let me know. Do you know some tech news you'd like to hear discussed? Do you have any other general questions you'd like to hear answered on the show? Send an email to videogamecrosstalk@gmail.com and give me the deets on what's going down. Please don't forget to like, review, subscribe, and share this podcast all over your social media accounts, and we can be found on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. One last time, thanks for hanging out with us. Aaron, thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, man. I enjoyed it. I forgot to tell you guys, I'm also on Podbean. Sorry, I put that plug in a little late, but again,
But hey, plug, plug, plug. That's what this end bit is all about. And in the words of Ray Kroc, the quality of a leader is reflected in the standards they set for themselves.